Managing Dependencies, Part 2, Inter-Team Dependencies. In Part 1, we looked at intra-team dependencies, dependencies that take place within a single team. But now, the more challenging area of dependency would be inter-team in a multi-team environment, where more than one team is working from the same product backlog. Let's assume that each team can consume and deliver product backlog items to their completion. But the sequencing or technical coordination across teams might be more of a challenge. And without exploring various scaling models, we're going to start simple. And we're going to keep in mind self-managed cross-functional teams that need to coordinate together. So before you look at changing the entire organization, let's start small with the specific consideration of these multiple teams that need to coordinate. Some suggestions for you to consider. Have one product owner across those multiple teams. This will minimize conflicting messages. This also follows the standard of one product owner per product, even if there are multiple teams. Another thing you can do, ensure the product owner is working with the teams to understand how to distribute work. For example, if the product owner decides to give all priority items to team A and lower priority items to team B, that could result in lower value overall delivered if team A falters, as opposed, of course, to having both teams work on high priority items. The product owner could argue that the different teams have different levels of experience and skill, but that's part of the challenge, and we work on knowledge sharing and understanding if we have the right people on each of those teams. Next, elect one or two representatives from each of the dependent teams to be the ambassadors, the representatives for their team. I recommend that these ambassadors from each team would be from the technical side, from the developers. You could have the Scrum Master be the representative from the team, but oftentimes the coordination that's needed across multiple teams is more technical in nature. So why not have a technical representative? Those ambassadors take responsibility for coordinating with the other team ambassadors. That coordination can take place in what used to be called the Scrum of Scrums. Now, the Scrum of Scrums is not a formal part of the Scrum framework. It's a daily Scrum that takes place after the usual daily Scrum, but it's reserved for the ambassadors to discuss coordination matters with each other. If they're going to be operating as self-managed teams, why not let them self-manage the coordination? Something else you can consider, extending this Scrum of Scrums concept beyond the daily coordination. Ambassadors can also coordinate before and after sprint planning, before and after the sprint review, giving them a chance to review what's going to be part of the coming sprint, what are the priorities, and what are the implications at the end of the sprint based on what the different teams have produced. And finally, my last recommendation. Remember that the sprint review is open to any interested party, and members from dependent teams might be interested in hearing what other teams have produced. So invite them to your review. You can even get very creative if you have a smaller number of teams where there's a simultaneous sprint review, where potentially you could have several teams that are all coordinating together conduct one large review across all three teams. Now, again, this requires some coordination and some forethought about the timing of that. It's like a science fair, right, where each team is presenting what they've produced. I've seen that work very nicely in some similar situations. So keep in mind, dependencies across teams can still be handled at the team level, and that includes the product owner. For our third session on dependencies, it's going to get even more intense with extra team dependencies.